Monday is going to be a very interesting day. Now, a lot of movement already happening today with Truth Social. Will President Trump somehow kind of put together this money at the last moment where Letitia James isn't going to be able to start locking up some of the the Trump buildings that she wants to start with in New York? We will not know really until 12:01, so midnight plus 1 minute on Monday morning when this can begin.
All right, let's go ahead and take some phone calls. Chuck's calling in Iowa on line 4, watching on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who watches on YouTube. We ask you if you're new to hit that subscribe button. We do this show each and every day and tons of other great content. Chuck, you're on the air.
She seizes his property and say she sells it. Does she have to sell it at market value or less? And then if he wins his appeal and they already sold his property, does he get that money back? And also, why don't they take it to the Supreme Court since it's in violation of the Eighth Amendment?
Okay, so I think, let me just answer one. Market value, yes, he could get, if he wins, he would get the money back. I don't know, the building would have already been sold, but the money back. And in the meantime, could you appeal this? He is going to. And he will appeal. I think he will use the Eighth Amendment as well as possibly even like interstate commerce, because this New York law is so different than other states. There's no injured party here, except New York didn't like what you gave to the loan company, who, by the way, would never, ever, I've said this how many times on the show, just take your piece of paper and say, I'm worth this, give me $500 million. They don't do that. They take yours, then they do their own assessment. And if it is pretty close, they say, okay, what they said was pretty close to what we believe, so here's the loan. If they think it's too far apart, they say, no, we disagree with you on your assessment of what your property is worth. Not necessarily a crime, but it means we're not going to give you a loan. In New York, even if you get the loan, they can look at it and you pay it back. That initial document you gave over, if they believe you were lying, even if you got the loan and paid the loan back, which means you weren't really lying because you got the money that you said you were going to get and make off of it, right, that you've somehow harmed New York. So could this get to the U.S. Supreme Court? It would have to work its way all the way up through the New York court system. So it would be doing that now. And then ultimately, you can always appeal directly from the top court of a state to the U.S. Supreme Court when a constitutional issue comes up, like the Eighth Amendment or interstate commerce, cruel and unusual punishments, which financial penalties are included in that, in economic crimes. So penalties. So yes, I think you could see that. All three. The one thing you don't get is the buildings back necessarily.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have that question. There's that sort of looming sense of when all the banks said, well, we would happily do business, and this has nothing to do with, like, that has just tainted this entire process. Can Letitia James take property that is held in a partnership or anything like that? Because people, I guess, are a little confused on, well, what's a Trump asset? Is a Trump asset a company, or a Trump asset President Trump individually? What are the rules? And I feel like it's a bit of a gray area.
Those would become a lien on the property, and they would sell his interest in it.
Okay.
So if he had like a third of a building,
they have to sell it.
They would sell at market value. New York would want to sell. They'd put a lien on it, and then that would sell at market value. So it would not affect the other participants, and it has to be at market value again. Now, again, New York property right now is lower than it's been in a long time. So this property in New York goes up and down. I mean, in waves of just, and there's still, some of the most expensive properties in the world there. But again, there's lots of different ways she could go about this. And I think when people are saying, well, does that save the building? It doesn't save it for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and hopefully
that's what you're asking.
That answers the question for you right there. I think some of it was just, is this fair even to the other people who have been in business deals with him? Let's go ahead and take some phone calls. We got to get these quickly. I am so sorry you've all waited on hold for so long.
We're in New Mexico, line 6, you're on the air.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking my call and all that you do for America with all your endeavors. So if I was Trump, I would call up my good buddy Elon Musk and ask him to buy Truth Social.
Well, there's a move at Truth Social we've talked about before. I don't know if it involves Elon Musk at all, but there is a move at Truth Social, Logan, and we've explained that today. I want to get some more calls. But, Brenda, that is a move that President Trump is making to take it public, which could include how much money to him?
$3 billion.
$3 billion.
Personal.
So you could easily write that $454 billion.
Easily just cash out a little bit, a third of it, and pay times 2. So, pay it and replenish it.
Back to the phones we go. Let's go to Alice in Georgia on line 5. Hey, Alice.
Hi there. I just wanted to thank you, number one, for all that you do. I try to listen to you every chance I get. This thing that's happening with President Trump, the government is also looking at Apple right now, and if it can happen to these huge companies, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah, I think that is, Alice, the general thought process. That's hopefully what our listeners understand, which is if it can happen to a president of the United States, that means it can happen to anyone.
Happen to you.
Let's quickly try to get to Patty in Florida, who's also been on
Final
hold.
call of the day.
Patty, you're up.
Hi. My question is, the whole reason that they said Trump committed fraud was saying that Mar-a-Lago was worth more than it is. Can he appeal because one person said that it was worth $18 million? Can you appeal?
All of this, Patty. The question is he going to appeal it while seizures are taking place, which he could have done? He can do if he can post this bond, and then if he wins, he would get the bond back. Or he could appeal it after having to pay this bond or having the building seized. But yes, he could appeal that plus the fine. So you could appeal both the findings of how much the properties were worth, and you could appeal the excessive fine, and that will both be done. The question will be, are buildings going to be seized, or will he get enough money together to get a bond out from a bond company or multiple bond companies, actually?
That's right. Hey, we are in the final week of our Life and Liberty Drive.
Yeah,
First, I want to thank all of you who are watching right now and all of you who are listening around the world. We really appreciate it. Know that. I mean that. But we have 30 seconds left, and I'm going to tell you in that 30 seconds, it is time to support our work. Go to aclj.org. We are 250 people away. That's it from our stretch goal. We can't believe that, but it's true. We got a week to hit it. Become an ACLJ champion right now. All you have to do is go to aclj.org/champions or aclj.org/life and liberty. Whatever you want to do, go to aclj.org, click that button to become a champion. Or if you can't, if you need to make an individual donation, of course, we appreciate that equally as much, and we really do appreciate it. But for those champions, do it right now. aclj.org/life and liberty, or scan the code on your screen.